This is your need to know.
Spoiler, sweetie. Spoiler, sweetie.
This is your need to know.
All right, so we're back, and you know what that means. It's time for another deep dive.
Yep, diving right in.
This time it's into the world of Severance.
Yeah, lots to uncover there.
We got a ton of questions from you guys about the show, and one that kept popping up was all about the color symbolism in Severance. Specifically, what's the deal with all the red versus blue?
Right. What's going on with that?
Well, lucky for us, the Severance subreddit is like a goldmine of fan theories.
Oh, yeah, they are deep in it over there.
And they've got some pretty wild ideas about what those colors could mean.
Wild but interesting.
Yeah.
Always good to see people really thinking about a show.
So let's start with the most popular theory. Red equals the outside world, blue equals the severed world inside Lumon.
Okay, I can see that.
When you think about it, the show does seem to use these colors pretty deliberately.
Yeah, definitely a lot of blue inside Lumon Industries. I mean, everywhere you look, it's like they're trying to create this feeling of being totally isolated, almost like a...
Like a sterile digital...
Yeah, exactly. Very cool.
And then you've got Mark
Yeah.
driving home from work in his red car toward the red glow of his house. It's such a stark contrast.
I never really thought about it that way.
Visually, it's like the show's hammering home the separation between those two worlds, even though for Mark, the transition between them is totally seamless, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's like, for him, it's just another part of his day.
And this whole separation idea, it's not just the big stuff like cars and buildings, it's even in the smaller details.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, someone on Reddit pointed out Mark's betta fish.
Oh, yeah. Those are cool fish.
He's got two of them, and they're separated by a pane of glass in their tank. Just like the severed employees, these fish have to be kept apart because they're known for being aggressive.
Oh, right. They can't be together or else one will kill the other.
Exactly. And some fans think that could be foreshadowing, you know?
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Foreshadowing what?
What might happen if a person's innie and outie were ever to be, like, reintegrated? Would they clash? Would one personality, like, try to dominate the other?
Oh, it is dark.
Right. It's a question that really gets at the heart of the show's exploration of identity. Like, what happens when you split a person in two? Do they become two separate beings, or are they still fundamentally connected?
Deep stuff.
Yeah.
And we haven't even gotten to those initials.
You're talking about Mark S., Helly R., Dylan G., Irving B.
Yep, exactly those. Put them all together, and what do you get? sRGB.
Which, as every tech nerd knows, is a color model used in digital displays.
Yep, can't escape those digital connections. And it gets even more interesting when you consider that the order of those initials,
Spells out HDMI.
another technology related to displays, makes you think, right, are these characters just pixels on a screen being manipulated by some unseen force? Is anything in this show truly organic, or is it all just a carefully constructed simulation?
Whoa, that's a lot to unpack.
It is, and that's just the red and blue. What about green?
Oh yeah, green. Some fans think green could represent the heart, you know, alongside the mind, blue, and the body, red.
I like it. It fits with the show's whole exploration of what makes us human.
Definitely. And this idea gets even more interesting when you think about the different colored key cards they use in the show.
Oh, right. Like in the Massacre painting, each person has a different colored card. Could those colors maybe represent different types of severance or even different departments?
Now, that is a really interesting thought. It would make sense.
Right. Makes you want to go back and rewatch every episode.
Speaking of departments, there's one in particular that's still shrouded in mystery.
Oh, which one?
You mean optics and design?
Yeah, optics and design. Those guys are creepy. All those baby goats. What's that all about?
Seriously. We see glimpses of what they're doing, but their true purpose is still a total enigma. Adds to the whole unsettling vibe of the show, you know?
Yeah, it's like, can't trust what we're seeing, let alone what they're telling us.
Makes you wonder if maybe that's the point.
Maybe it is. And speaking of unsettling, what about that term break room? One fan on Reddit pointed out that it's kind of a double entendre.
Oh yeah, how so?
Well, obviously it's the room where they take breaks from work.
Right.
But it's also where they kind of break you psychologically, if you know what I mean.
I get you. It's where all the weird stuff goes down, the finger traps, the dance routines, the code detectors.
Exactly. It's like even the language they use inside Lumon is designed to manipulate and control. Everything's carefully chosen to reinforce their power.
Okay, so we've talked colors and creepy departments. Now let's move on to one of the most intriguing characters.
Okay, who are we thinking? Kobel. Milchik.
I'm thinking Mrs. Selvig, Mark's neighbor. There are some pretty wild fan theories about her.
Oh, I've seen those. Like that she might actually be severed, too.
Yeah, and that she's maybe keeping tabs on Mark for Lumon.
There's some weird stuff going on with her. Like, remember when she asks Mark if he's hungover at work? How would she know that
Unless she has access to information that his innie self shouldn't have.
Right. And her name, Selvig.
Is suspiciously close to?
That scientist from the Thor movies. The one who's always a little bit,
Unhinged.
Yeah. Maybe it's a little nod from the creators just to keep us on our toes.
I love that. And this whole idea of Mrs. Selvig being more than she seems, it really ties into that bigger theme of surveillance and control that's everywhere in Severance,
Totally. Like, are these characters ever truly free, even outside the walls of Lumon? Are they still being watched? Are they still being manipulated?
Chilling questions, man.
They are. But before we spiral into a full-blown existential crisis, I think we need to address the elephant in the room, or rather the lack of elephant on the plate.
You're talking about food.
Food. Or, more specifically, the lack of it in Severance. Think about it. You've got the dinerless diner, the dinner party, with no actual dinner.
The gift card to Pip's Bar and Grill that Mark's sister mentions.
Right. It's like they're constantly highlighting this absence of something essential. Something that, in the real world, nourishes us, connects us.
It's almost like a metaphor, right?
Like, maybe it's a way of showing us the spiritual emptiness that comes from being severed. These characters, they're working, they're following the rules, but are they really living?
Makes you think.
It does. And then you've got those cookies.
The ones Mrs. Selvig gives to Mark.
Exactly. Could they be more than just a friendly gesture from a neighbor? In Severance, you can't help but wonder if every little detail has a deeper meaning.
Could be a tool of manipulation or a clue.
Good point. Maybe those cookies are the key to unlocking the whole mystery.
Okay, so we've got missing meals, mystery cookies, and a whole lot of unanswered questions. But before we get too carried away with the symbolism, I think it's time to tackle one of the biggest mysteries of the show.
Okay, which one? There are so many.
The technology.
Oh yeah, the technology. Why is it so outdated? Like, they're using floppy disks and dot matrix printers. In a world where they can sever people's minds, you'd think they'd have something a little more, cutting edge.
Exactly. Some fans think it's a deliberate control mechanism. Like, if the innies have never seen a USB drive, how would they even think to smuggle one out?
Right. It's like they're trapped in a technological time warp. They can't even imagine the tools that would allow them to escape.
But it also raises questions about Lumon's motives, right? If they're so technologically advanced, why are they using such antiquated equipment?
Maybe it's all part of a larger experiment. Or maybe it's just to mess with our heads.
Haha, probably a bit of both. And then there's the whole question of what they're actually doing with all that data.
Right, the data refinement. What is that all about? One theory is that they're actually weeding out scary data, anything that triggers fear in the innies.
And the black goo we see. Could that be a physical manifestation of that fear response?
Ooh, that's a creepy thought.
Right.
But it would make sense given Lumon's obsession with controlling their employees' emotions. Fear is disruptive, unpredictable. It's a threat to their whole operation.
So are these employees just data processors? Or are they the experiment themselves?
Man, that's a good question. And it's a question that's becoming more and more relevant in our own world, too. As technology gets more powerful, how do we protect ourselves from being exploited? How do we ensure that progress doesn't come at the cost of our humanity?
Big questions.
Huge questions. Maybe we should take a break from the heavy stuff for a minute and explore some of the lighter fan theories.
Yeah, good idea. My brain is starting to hurt.
Mine too. Severance is a workout for the mind, that's for sure. But hey, it's a good workout.
It is. It makes you think, it makes you question, and most importantly, it makes you want to keep watching.
Exactly.
This is your need to know. This is your need to know. All
All right, ready for a little bit of fun?
Bring it on.
Okay, so remember how we were talking about those initials?
Mark S., Helly R., Dylan G., Irving B.
Right, right. So there's this theory that, get this, it actually stands for Super Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, it's out there. I know it's kind of fun, right?
It's definitely creative. It shows you how much these fans are really into the show, thinking of every possible angle.
Yeah, and it's a good reminder that sometimes the most interesting interpretations, well, they aren't always the ones that creators had in mind, you know?
True, true. Okay, so let's maybe get back to some of those bigger mysteries we were talking about.
Yeah, sure. Like,
Oh, yeah, Dylan.
oh yeah, Dylan and his son. That whole thing is still messing with me.
Me too. I mean, finding out that Dylan has his whole family outside Lumon, that was a huge shock.
Ah.
And then the fact that Milchick can just remotely activate his any state, like whenever he wants.
That's messed up, right? Talk about a breach of privacy.
It makes you realize just how much control Lumon really has over these people's lives. It's not just their work lives, it's their personal lives, their families.
Everything. It's like they own them, body and soul.
And the thing is, for Dylan's Audi, maybe it doesn't even feel that bad.
Yeah, true. We don't really know what his Audi life is like.
But for his innie, I mean, imagine suddenly getting ripped away from whatever you're doing.
Yeah, and sent to that creepy dark closet with all those clothes, and then you see your kid.
And you don't even know who this kid is.
Right. Like, what is going on here? And then, boom, you're right back in the severed world. It's brutal.
It's a violation, plain and simple.
Right.
And it makes you wonder about Dylan's Audi life, too. Is he actually happy? Does he even really love his son? Or is it all just some kind of act, you know?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Like, is his Audi life even real?
Right. Or is it all just a carefully constructed facade designed to keep him compliant?
Makes you think. And, you know, speaking of those big reveals, we got to talk about Helly R.,
Oh, yeah. Miss Helena Egan herself.
the woman of the hour. Or should I say, the daughter of the man of the hour.
Seriously, when her true identity came out, it totally changed everything. It blew my mind.
Right. I mean, to think that she voluntarily underwent the severance procedure, or Audi, that is, it was all a calculated move, a big publicity stunt to make Severance seem more appealing to the public.
It's crazy, right? And it also shows just how little she cares about her innie self. Like, remember when she says to Heliar, I'm a person you're not?
Ouch. Talk about dehumanizing.
It's like she sees her innie as nothing more than a tool, you know? Something to be exploited for her own gain.
Exactly. And her dad, Mr. Egan, he wants to sever everyone. Like, that's his big goal.
He wants a world full of mind-controlled workers, basically.
That's pretty scary when you think about it.
Yeah.
It's like some kind of dystopian nightmare.
Which is why Helly's rebellion is so important. Even with all that power stacked against her, she's still fighting back.
She is. And think about those photos Milchick is always taking. They take on a whole new meaning when you realize what Helly's trying to do.
Right, he's trying to create this picture-perfect image for the board, this happy little Lumon family.
But underneath all that, there's this simmering rebellion brewing. Helly's not buying it, and neither are a lot of the other innies.
And then there's that whole thing with the waffle party. Still can't get over how bizarre that was.
Oh, the waffle party? That was wild. The dancing, the masks, the weird chants, and the whip. Don't forget about the whip.
Seriously. What was with that whip and those weird symbols on it? Some fans think it's connected to Cobell and her shrine.
Yeah, I saw that theory. Like, maybe she's even more involved in those rituals than we realize.
Which makes her even creepier, if that's even possible.
Right. It makes you wonder what she really believes in. Is she a true believer in Keir Egan and all that Lumon mumbo-jumbo? Or is she just playing her role?
Ooh, that's a good question. Is she a true believer or just another cog in the machine?
Right. Maybe she doesn't even know the answer herself. She's been at Lumon so long, maybe she's lost sight of what's real and what's not.
Man, this show really makes you think about everything, doesn't it?
It does. It's like a giant puzzle, and we're all just trying to piece it together.
Speaking of puzzles, what about Irving? His Audi life is still a total mystery.
I know. But remember those medals we saw in his house? Some people think he might be ex-military.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
And the way Lumon freaks out whenever he falls asleep, it's like they're afraid of what his Audi might be doing.
Like maybe he's trying to communicate with his innie self.
Or maybe he's conducting his own investigation into Lumon from the outside.
Right. And don't forget about Bert. Their connection is so strong, it makes you think they must have known each other before.
In a previous department, maybe?
Yeah, like maybe they were severed together and their innies still remember something of that connection.
It would be so sweet if that were true. A little glimmer of hope in all this darkness.
Right. Like even in this messed up world, human connection can still find a way.
Speaking of messed up, remember that whole thing about the overtime contingency?
Oh yeah, the overtime contingency. That was a bombshell. Lumon can activate their employees' innies outside of work. That's insane.
Total invasion of privacy. And the way they did it, with those music cues.
Creepy. And then the way it ends, with the innies suddenly in control of their outie bodies.
Talk about a cliffhanger. I can't wait to see what happens next.
Can either. Do they stay in control? Do they tell everyone what's going on?
So many questions. This show is a masterpiece at keeping us guessing.
It is. It's one of those shows that you have to watch multiple times, just to catch all the details and really understand what's going on.
Totally. And it's a show that really benefits from having a community of fans to discuss it with,
Right. All those fan theories and interpretations, they add so much to the experience.
It's like a giant group project, and we're all working together to try to figure it out.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Severance, what are some of the key takeaways for our listener? What should they keep in mind as they continue their own exploration of the show?
Well, I think one of the biggest things to remember is that Severance isn't just some sci-fi show, It's actually saying something about our own lives.
Yeah, it really makes you think about all the ways we're already kind of severed in our own world.
Right. Like with work and our personal lives. That balance is tough.
It's like we're always putting on different masks, different personas, depending on who we're with and where we are. Are we ever really being our true selves?
That's a good question, and this show really makes you confront that.
And then there's the whole thing about community and connection.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one. Like all the fans we've been talking about, they're not just watching this show, they're really diving into it.
Yeah, they're dissecting it, debating it, creating all these amazing theories.
Exactly. And it's inspiring to see, It's like in a world that can feel pretty lonely sometimes, we can still find ways to connect with each other.
And those connections, they can be powerful. They can help us make sense of the world.
Totally. And I think that's what makes Severance so special. It's not just entertainment, it's a conversation starter, a way to connect with other people who are asking the same questions you are.
So we've talked about the colors, the theories, all the different ways people are interpreting the show.
Yeah, a lot to unpack.
But as we wrap things up, I want to leave you with one last thought, something to really chew on.
Okay, hit me with it.
What would you do if you found out you were severed?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Would you fight to get back your outie life, even if it meant risking everything? Or would you just embrace the innie life, even though it means giving up a part of yourself? It's a tough choice, right? There's no easy answer.
Yeah.
It makes you really examine what you value most.
Exactly. And I think that's the beauty of Severance.
Yeah.
It asks those tough questions. It challenges us to think differently about the world.
And maybe, just maybe, it helps us understand ourselves a little bit better along the way.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Severance. It's been a wild ride.
Oh, it has.
Until next time, stay curious, keep watching, and keep those theories coming.
This is your need to know.
I've been chasing my own shadow. Can't tell sunrise from the moon glow. Running round in circles, circles, circles. Got no time to take it slow. Oh no. Burning bright but feeling hollow. Can't break free, I only follow. Lost between the lines I write. Can't tell day from night, dark from light. Right. I'm so strung out, caught in the grind. Can't find the peace I left behind. I'm working hard, but I can't find light. I can't tell day from night. I don't think I'm alright. Something wrong. Another page, another hour. 1,000 dreams all start to dour. This hustle's got me in its grip. Flesh stripped, ripped and refit. I lose myself with every slip. Burning, burning, burning bright, but feeling hollow. Low, 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 can't break free. I only follow. Hello, hello. Lost between the lines I write. Can't tell day from night. Fight, fight, dark or light. Oh, oh. I'm strung out, caught in the grind. Can't find the peace I left behind. Have I lost my mind? I'm working hard, but I can't find light. I can't tell day from night. I don't think I'm alright. There's something wrong. Why else would I write this song? I can't rewind. I can't step outside, outside, outside. I'm sure I'm just wasting all my time. You're out of sight, out of my mind. Keep on pushing, pushing. I fall behind. Strung out, stuck in the grind. No peace left behind. I lost my mind. Hardly working, I can't find the right. Is it day? Is it night? Do you still think I'm alright? I've been wrong. For a long, long time. One more hour, one more try. Find a way to reach the sky. Get lost in flight. Moving on day and night. 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 I've been chasing my own shadow. Can't tell sunrise from the moon glow. Running round in circles, circles, circles. Got no time to take it slow. Oh, 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 no. Burning bright but feeling hollow. Can't break free, I only follow, follow, follow. Lost between the lines I write. Can't tell day from night, dark from light, right. I'm so strung out, caught in the grind. Can't find the peace I left behind. I'm working hard, but I can't find light. I can't tell day from night. I don't think I'm alright. There's something wrong. Another page, another hour. 1,000 dreams all start to dour. This hustle's got me in its grip. Flesh stripped, ripped and riffed. I lose myself with every slip. Burning, 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 bright but feeling hollow. Low, low, can't break free, I only follow. Hello, hello, lost between the lines I write. Can't tell day from night. Fight, 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 dark or light. Oh, oh, I'm strung out, caught in the grind. Can't find the peace I left behind. I'm working hard, but I can't find light. I can't tell day from night. I don't think I'm alright. There's something wrong. Why else would I write this song? I can't rewind, I can't step outside, outside, outside. I'm sure I'm just wasting all my